Think the world is a mess today? Politics, the economy, wars, the internet having a meltdown every other week? It feels like we're living in the most chaotic time ever, right? Well, let me show you something. Because compared to what humanity has gone through before, what we're experiencing now is practically a walk in the park. Get ready, because we're about to dive into the most chaotic, wild, and explosive periods in history, moments that will make today feel surprisingly calm. Let us start with what historians call the worst year to be alive, the year 536. Imagine this. One day, the sun just disappears. Not for a few minutes during an eclipse, but for over a year. A mysterious, dense fog blankets Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia, plunging the world into darkness. With the sun gone, temperatures plummet, leading to summer snow in China. Crops fail everywhere, triggering a famine so vast and devastating that it wipes out huge portions of the population. People were starving in the dark with no idea what was happening. They genuinely thought the world was ending, that the gods had abandoned them. For centuries, the cause was a mystery. Now, scientists believe it was a colossal volcanic eruption, maybe in Iceland or North America, that spewed so much ash into the atmosphere, it created a volcanic winter. Think about that. We worry about social media drama and political arguments. They worried about the sun literally vanishing from the sky. So, global darkness versus a bad news cycle. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. Next, let's jump to the year 1453. Imagine waking up one morning and your entire world, your identity, the empire that stood for over 1,000 years, is just gone. That's exactly what happened during the fall of Constantinople. For centuries, the city was the heart of the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of the mighty Roman Empire. It was a beacon of Christianity, learning, and trade, a city, protected by walls so legendary, they were thought to be impenetrable. But after a 53-day siege, the massive cannons of the Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Mehmed II, finally broke through. What followed was chaos. The city was ransacked, its inhabitants scattered, and the last Roman emperor, Constantine XI, died fighting in the streets. In a single day, an entire civilization collapsed. The world map was redrawn, trade routes were severed. The psychological shockwave rippled across Europe, arguably kicking off the Renaissance as scholars fled west with ancient knowledge. Today, people panic if their Wi-Fi goes down for an hour. Back then, they witnessed the end of their civilization overnight. It's a matter of perspective, isn't it? Now, for a period that delivered a brutal 1-2 punch, the end of World War I and the 1918 influenza pandemic. The Great War finally ends in November 1918. After 4 years of unimaginable trench warfare, poison gas, and industrial-scale slaughter, the world breathes a collective sigh of relief. People pour into the streets to celebrate. They believe humanity has survived its darkest hour and is ready to rebuild. But something else was spreading silently in the crowds, carried by soldiers returning home, a new, terrifyingly lethal strain of influenza. The pandemic hit in 3 waves and was unlike any flu seen before. It didn't just target the old and weak. It struck down healthy young adults in the prime of their lives, killed more people in 2 years than the war did in an estimated 50 million worldwide. There were no vaccines, no antibiotics for secondary infections, no internet to share information, just fear, confusion, and a chilling silence as cities shut down and families were decimated. It was a global tragedy, piggybacking on another global tragedy. Let us rewind a bit to the 13th and 14th centuries and talk about an empire that literally reset the world map, the Mongol invasions. We see shifting alliances and geopolitical tensions today and think the world is unstable. But what Genghis Khan and his successors did was on another level entirely. Starting as a collection of nomadic tribes in the steppes of Mongolia, they exploded onto the world stage, creating the largest contiguous land empire in history. In just a few decades, they reshaped continents. Their conquests were swift, brutal, and incredibly effective. Entire cities that resisted. Like Samarkand and Baghdad, the center of the Islamic Golden Age, were razed to the ground, their populations annihilated. But it wasn't just destruction. The Mongols also created the Pax Mongolica, a period of peace that secured the Silk Road, enabling trade, technology, and ideas to travel between East and West like never before. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing, all made their way to Europe during this time. The Mongol invasions didn't just shift borders, they fundamentally rewired the course of world history. Today's political shifts are significant, but the Mongols literally hit the reset button on the world. Finally, let's go to a more modern, but no less terrifying moment: the Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962. For 13 days, the world held its breath, teetering on the absolute brink of nuclear annihilation. The United States discovered that the Soviet Union was placing nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida. What followed was the most intense political and military standoff in history. President Kennedy and Premier Khrushchev were locked in a terrifying game of chicken. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, one wrong move, one misunderstood message, one overly aggressive general on either side, and it would have triggered a full-scale nuclear war. People today often say the world feels unstable and dangerous, but for those 13 days, it wasn't a feeling. It was a statistical probability. We weren't just living with the threat of war. We were one button push away from global extinction. The fact that we're all here today is a testament to the cool heads that barely prevailed. The next time you feel overwhelmed by the 24-hour news cycle and the chaos of the modern world, just take a moment to remember, humanity has faced down literal darkness, the collapse of entire civilizations, global pandemics layered on top of world wars, and the very real possibility of nuclear apocalypse. And through it all, we survived. We adapted. We rebuilt. Chaos isn't a new invention of the 21st century. It's been with us all along, but so has human resilience. If you found this perspective interesting, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. And while you're at it, check out our previous episode, 5 historical events that look exactly like what is happening today. Thanks for watching.